Welcome to another YouTube video. Welcome. So today what I'm going to be doing is showing you how to set up CloudFront and AWS S3. So what we're going to do basically is so I have an image. This is publicly accessible with ACL. So there's public read access, so anyone can see this image. So what we're going to do is to put this image in front of CloudFront, or put CloudFront in front of the image. So I'm sure if you're watching this video, you probably know what CloudFront is and all the benefits of using CloudFront. So your projects, that's not the essence of this video. You can read up on the benefits of CloudFront. Then yeah, we also have a private file, and this file is private, so if I try to access it with the public URL, it will not work. I need a signed URL to access it. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to put this image in front of CloudFront, put CloudFront in front of this image so we can access it through CloudFront. So before getting to that, just basically I'll show you the permission, how I have the buckets configured. So yeah, public blocking of public access is turned off. Currently, I don't have any bucket policy, but we would add some later on. Also, ACL needs to be enabled, and you also need to allow CORS origin to your buckets. Okay, so this is, I was trying out some client-side upload, so that's why I have this. But ideally, this should just have the head option. So because we're also going to set into this head option is for situations where you want to access your files through CloudFront from the client side. If you want to download it client side, so you are going to it's going to need access to this CORS allowed origins header. So you just need to enable that on your buckets. So I also kept that in the README. So that is this over here. So this is the CORS headers you need to allow on your buckets. So yeah, then you just set the head and the allowed origins. Also the buckets policy, you'll get to this later. But before getting into that, you're going to need to generate a private and a public key. So this is what we're going to use to access CloudFront. So just run this command. I've already generated mine. And also you're going to, so I know some people might want to like read the public key from a file directly. Some might want to like set it from the environment variable. So if you're like me, I want to set the private key from environment variable and still keep the formatting. You can use this command to replace all the new lines with /n, then just have it in one line. Then when you are now reading it into the file, you just make sure to like escape the character and replace it with like a proper new line. So yeah, I guess that covers all the whole boilerplate. And also here the function here, just a basic function to just generate a pre-signed URL for a private file we have on CloudFront. So let's get started right away. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is create a CloudFront distribution. Search for CloudFront. Let me open this in a new tab. Okay, so firstly we're going to create a distribution. I'll just call. So firstly we're going to select the origin. So I'm using this S3 buckets. Then yeah, the path optional. Then can give this a name. I guess I'll just leave this as is. Okay, so now so we're going to leave the origin access as public for now, and we'll later set up OAC. But let's leave this as public for now. Then enable. I guess we could leave all this as default. Okay, so I guess you might want to enable this head request and options. That is if you want to be doing some client side download, so it has proper calls can make CORS requests, like the CORS pre-flight requests. Okay, so I'm going to leave this as recommended. We're also going to enable CORS by setting this response header policy, but we'll look at that later on. Yeah, I guess we can leave all this as is. Then we'll create our distribution. Okay. Yeah, don't enable. Okay, we'll just go with the default for now. Now we wait for our distribution to provision. Okay, now that our CloudFront deployment is complete, took 5 minutes. Wow. Okay, so now we have our distribution domain. So if we copy our domain and we take any of our keys and put the keys behind the domain, file is no longer served from S3 directly but served through CloudFront. So we can see that here the public image that I have, that this one is being displayed perfectly. For the private one, yeah, I'm sure we've all seen this error before. We can't access it. So let's fix that. Let's fix that. So the reason why we can't access this is because our CloudFront distribution doesn't have access to the private files we have on S3. And to give our CloudFront distribution that access, what we're going to do is create an origin access control. So firstly, we're going to create one. I will just call this my main access control. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to allow it to sign requests. So when we're making requests to S3 and it goes through this origin access control, it's going to sign the request first. Then the origin type is S3 our use case. Then we create that. So once that has been created, we have to go to our distribution and go to origins. So this is our S3 buckets. Then we edit this origin and we set the origin access control to the one we just created. So now once we are setting this here, this is the part where we now update the S3 buckets policy. Okay, so the buckets policy, and to edit this, so we can copy the policy, then we just paste that in here. So in the readme, I kept a sample here. So yeah, this is not the right one. So yeah, this is the buckets policy that we need. So here you see, just put in your buckets name, your AWS account ID, and your CloudFront distribution ID. So pretty straightforward. So that is what, so like yeah, it auto generates this for us already and fills in all the details. You just copy that in and paste it in. So once that is done, you save. Okay, now this has been saved. Then we come back to our CloudFront distribution. Just confirm that I saved this here. Saved. Come back here. Origin access control. Origin access control has been enabled. Yeah, I guess we could leave all this as the default. Then we save. Then once we save, we wait for it to deploy. Okay, now we have our deployments complete. The updates are live. Now we can see, now we can access the public image, the private image as well. Let's see. We can also access the private image from CloudFront. So both work, but there's a problem. This is supposed to be a private image, but we can access it directly without using a signed URL. Okay, now that's an issue, and that's what we're going to fix next. So to fix that, the first thing we're going to do is create a public key. So create a public key. I'll just name this my main public key, where you can just put any description, cool stuff, bro. Okay, very descriptive. And now, so the public key will paste in what we created earlier. So this, the command, as I mentioned earlier, this is it over here in the README. So I'll just copy the public key that I have here and paste it in. So now we have our public key. Create. Okay. Oh yeah. This can't have spaces. Forgot about that. Now create the public key. Okay, now our public key has been created. We can copy this and let's update this over here. Awesome. Now we are going to create a key group. Okay, so why we also have to create a key group is that we can't directly attach a key to our distribution. So it has to come through a key group. So let's just call this my main key group. No, let's call this the key group. Nice one. And again, the name cannot contain spaces. I'll just select the public key we created earlier, then we create the key group. So now we have our key group created and it has been attached to our public key has been added to the key group. Next we go over to our distributions and here. So we're going to set up behaviors. We're going to modify our behaviors. So we see here, so basically what we want to do now is restricts viewer access to make sure that okay, if you want to make sure that if you're coming through CloudFront, you have to be using a signed URL. But if we do this here, that means for every request, even for our public files, we will need a signed URL, which is probably what that might be what you may want, because some people might not want that. So what we're going to do is to create another behavior. So this matches all parts. So what we're going to do is go into our behaviors. We're going to create a new behavior, and this is going to be slash private slash all. So yeah, let me just make sure this is spelled right. Yeah, okay. So that will be okay. So anything within private slash any file that starts with slash private would or any file that is inside the private folder and we're accessing it through CloudFront is going to use this behavior. So what we're going to do is we're going to just allow head and get head options. Also, now we're going to restrict viewer access to use CloudFront Signed URLs. I'm going to use trusted key groups. Remember, we created a key group earlier that we added our public key to. So now we'll select our key group, and I guess we could use the I guess yeah, there's cache. Okay, yeah, it's supposed to auto select up to the one that's optimized for S3. Yeah, I forgot to select the origin. That's our S3 buckets. Set this back. Yeah. Also, we can add this header. So yeah, so there are different headers we could add here. So this is just to enable CORS. So as I mentioned earlier, if we want to maybe like do some downloads from client side, we would need this. So yeah, just include all CORS headers so you can actually see what this does, and you can create custom ones if you have specific cases. So yeah, this just allows all CORS requests. So yeah, so that's it. I guess that's all. I don't think I'm missing anything. So yeah, just head get options. But yeah, this is just the major thing. And turning this on to yes and attaching our key group, then we create the behavior. So now once that behavior has been created, okay, let's see, can still access this file. So let's wait for our distribution to complete deployment and we'll try to, oh, yeah, can't even access it again. So yeah, because now it's requiring our key PID, it requires a signed URL, but we can still access this. This still works. Okay, so now let's generate a signed URL and try to access it. So copy the key. Let's now go to the code. So yeah, the code is pretty straightforward. The code will be uploaded on GitHub. I guess I could zoom this in a bit. Yeah, looks too zoomed in. But yeah. So firstly, we just put in the S3 file key. Then we'll copy our CloudFront domain. So let me get that from over here. This is the CloudFront domain. I would paste this in here. And yeah, so in our env file, we have our key PID and our private key already set up. So once all that is done, just run yarn dev. Okay, now we have our signed URL. Let's see. Open, and voila, we can access our file through CloudFront using a signed URL. If we try to access it without the signed URL, it doesn't work, but we can still access public files through CloudFront. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I tried my best to make this video shorter, probably close to 20 minutes, but yeah, it is what it is. I hope you got some value from this. Take care and see you in the next one. Bye bye. And don't forget to like and subscribe.